Hey, welcome back to SJG Perspective. Tonight, I'm going to talk about a very disturbing video I just saw on, or article I just read on how Mark Zuckerberg and Emmanuel Crapon um, in France are working together on a global initiative pledge to provide, in essence, more regulation, which would equate to more censorship and more control in the hands of government in bed with social media. Yeah, that sounds like a winner combination right there, right? What could go wrong? Before I get into that, please follow me on Minds. Please go to minds.com. It's at SJG Perspective, minds.com. You can also follow me on BitChute. I have several other ones that are in my descriptions. Please subscribe to all of them. But if you don't subscribe to any other ones, please go to minds.com. Oh, and Telegram. I'm still figuring Telegram out, but go to Telegram too. Telegram and Minds. Please subscribe to me on Telegram and Minds because there's coming the day quickly, very quickly, that conservative voices and libertarian voices and center voices are getting kicked off of all of social media and are getting erased out of the ether when it comes to online expression, if you will. And so there's some that are not as draconian and Orwellian and totalitarian and fascist as, like, Facebook and Twitter and some of these others are, where if you think the wrong thing, you're not allowed on their platform and they just kick you off. If you don't line up with their hardcore progressive leftist ideologies, you get kicked off. That's just how it works. They don't care about consistency. They don't care about it, and they're getting more and more brazen about it. And it's blatant. They're blatantly doing it right coming up into the 2020 elections because they know the voice of conservatives, and not just conservatives. Like I said, libertarians, those who believe, classic liberals, if you will. I'm going to try not to make fun of liberals anymore because really, there's a lot of liberals, classic liberals, that I really enjoy, like the Tim Pools of the world and the Dave Rubins of the world and these kind of people who stand for free speech and stand for rights. We wouldn't agree on every subject, but man, I'm going to tell you what, they stand for what matters. So in this country, the First Amendment is so very, very vital to our society functioning the way it's supposed to function in society. And silencing of that is going to and the attempts to silence that is ruining and will ruin our country. These leftists that worship at the altar of identity politics and worship this ideology of being an identitarian and the social justice and the PC, you know, political correctness and your intersectionality nonsense, all of that. It's a religion. I'm going to be doing a video on that. It's a religion. It's a religion of which they worship at. And it is something that we need to combat and stand against because it is going to take away all of our freedoms that we enjoy here in America. Do not think and do not forget that we are the last bastion of free speech in the world. In the world. The last place where right now you can't just be locked up, short of calling for violence, short of calling for action against somebody. You can't be locked up in prison for that. You will lose your job if you say the wrong thing. You will lose your standing and following. The identitarians and the identity politics has done a really good job of pushing that thus far. Hopefully we can roll that back. But right now, you can't be arrested for just saying what you think unless you call in for action. And there's a line right there. It's real simple. How are we going to solve this problem of social media online? How are we going to do it? I don't know how we're going to do it. We just need to have all our policies, and you need to have our terms and conditions. And if you violate those, we're just censoring you. And there's always a changing, and there is no exact point where you can know, well, this is the line, because the line always changes. And the line isn't held in any kind of form of consistency. There is zero consistency. They banned Farrakhan as a token ban. That was a token ban. To make them kind of look like they weren't just going after, conservative or more constitutional supporting voices online. So anyways, please sign up for mine. I didn't mean to get on that rant for 5 minutes. My bad. So anyways, let's jump into the article that I wanted to talk about. This article, grab my screen capture. There it is right there. Boom. U.S. rejects Christchurch call to censor extremist online content over free speech concerns. The U.S. has refused to endorse a new global initiative to combat violent extremism online, citing First Amendment concerns, even as U.S.-based tech firms have joined France and New Zealand in embracing and defending the censorship. Well, of course they have. Of course they have. Because Zuckerberg wants to censor everything. And all of the far right or all of the far left, tech companies and social media companies and Silicon Valleyites want to do that. They've been doing it nonstop. They would love it to get some authoritarian, power-hungry governments on board, right? And why the hell wouldn't Macron or Crapron want to not do that, man? Look, have you looked at his country in a minute? He's not exactly got all the best of, shall we say, support in his country. Yeah, yellow vests and whatnot. Yeah, why don't you worry about your own country there, Emmanuel Crapon? Why don't you worry about your own country and not be trying to push on us this crazy authoritarian and more laws that we don't need? You've even admitted in this article we don't need them. I'm fired up right now. I'm going to read the article. I'm sorry. I'm going to move on. We maintain, this is the U.S. talking again, we maintain the best tool to defeat terrorist speech. I think I read that. Maybe I didn't. We continue to be proactive in our efforts to counter terrorist content online. This is what the White House said. While also continuing to respect freedom of expression and freedom of the press. Explaining that it was not currently in a position to join the endorsement, which makes me a little worried if they're not currently in a position to join the endorsement, that they may not later. Please don't. Please don't. Mr. Trump, please don't. With your administration, please stand strong on this. We cannot capitulate even one more inch to the leftists wanting more censorship and regulation on free speech, on what they deem hate speech, on what they deem not correct, not acceptable speech. Even though it supported the pledge's overall goals. That bothers me, that we support their overall goals on this. Well, everybody would want to support goals that say not to have terrorism online or extremism, like true extremism online. Nobody supports that. We all think anybody that's a common, decent person think that's crap. But your freedom of expression and your freedom of speech is a treasure that we are the last country in the world to hold unabated. And we need to not let go of that. We maintain that the best tool to defeat terrorist speech is productive speech, and thus we emphasize the importance of promoting credible alternative narratives as the primary means by which we can defeat terrorist messaging. Amen, the statement added. Focusing on the unprecedented cooperation between governments and corporations, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern glossed over the U.S. absence from the international agreement, insisting that Washington's lukewarm response demonstrates broad and unquestionable support for the call. French President Emmanuel Macron was less sanguine, vowing, we will do everything so that we are able to get a concrete and more formal commitment from the U.S. Like I said, Emmanuel, worry about your own crap hole city and rules that you're dealing with right now, with your own uprising that you have in your own country, the own backlash you're getting from your own citizens. You worry about you and let us worry about us. We don't need your damn input, especially as you sit across the table from Mark Zuckerberg, who does not care a lick of crap about a person in America. He only cares about his billions of dollars. He only cares about his power and prestige. He only cares about taking our private information and selling it to the highest bidder. Mark Zuckerberg sucks. Totally sucks. And this will get posted up on Facebook automatically, which I don't really use anymore. And man, ban me, Mark, because I'm moving away from your site, and I'm encouraging everybody I know to do the same. everybody else to do the same. And maybe you'll be glad when we're gone, but I promise you, keep it up. Everyone's going to leave your site because your site sucks because you suck, you little drone robot. Moving on. French President Emmanuel Macron, I already read that. The Christ call unveiled Wednesday by Arden and Macron lays out comprehensive measures for restricting the spread of content deemed violent extremists or terrorists. You notice how they don't ever define what violent extremists are or terrorists, though? Because I think we all know, and I think we all could agree that, violent extremists or terrorists, saying they want to blow stuff up, or saying they want to, throw gay people off of buildings, or, showing videos of men beating their wives, or, beheading people, or burning them, or drowning them, or, like going and shooting like this. Or we could use the Christchurch example of some crazy piece of crap going in and shooting a bunch of, people up in a mosque. That's all terrible. Nobody thinks that's good. Nobody likes that. That's your extremism, right? We all get it. We all know already that's bad, and we already have laws on the books to take care of that. So I don't really know why we need more laws. I don't really know why we need more of a initiatives or a cohesive pledge from everybody to make sure this doesn't happen. We already get it. That's bad, and we already have laws in place to deal with it. While admitting that most countries already have laws governing such content, and most tech platforms already prohibit its sharing under their terms of usage. So it looks like we've already got it covered. And man, Facebook, you are not shy to, banning people and shutting down their accounts for just using the wrong words. Speaking any kind of blasphemy against the religion of which you espouse, the religion of right think, the religion of political correctness of which you espouse. You already are quick to knock anybody off the channel that even almost steps close to the line. So I don't really know why we need more from you. The proposal calls for a closer cooperation between corporations, NGOs, and law enforcement, as well as between countries. What could go wrong? What could go wrong when we just mix all the, the corporations and the social media and the governments up together, and they start colluding together? These socialist governments too, by the way, 90% of them that are on this are socialist governments and are authoritarian type governments, or mildly authoritarian governments. What could go wrong? I mean, what could go wrong? Oh, some collaborative actions recommended by the agreement include investigating and prosecuting illegal online activity in regard to detected and or removed terrorist and violent extremist content. Okay, that's fine. You already do that. You already can do that. And incident management teams, this is a good one, that can broadly distribute information that is in the public interest. So we're going to decide what's in the public interest before we let anybody before we let you broadcast it. We're going to decide. Mark Zuckerberg, Emmanuel Macron, these government, law enforcement agencies, they're going to decide what's in your interest, and they're going to control the information you see. Now, I get it. Anytime you have a live shooter like this piece of crap that went in and killed all these innocent people, yeah, you shouldn't be live streaming shootings and stuff like that. Fine, put a filter up for that. Figure out how to knock that off and make sure that crap doesn't get up on your site. But that's not what this is. This is another sly backdoor way of just adding another layer of censorship and control. And this time getting in bed with the governments of the countries where these monopolistic companies do business in. The Facebooks, the Twitters, these monopolistic public square companies getting in bed with the governments. That's all it is. It's just for more control. And they're so trustworthy. What could go wrong? 18 countries, including Canada, Germany, Indonesia, Japan, and the UK. So let's see out of there. You got the UK, already very, very tight censorship laws, and You can't say the wrong thing online or you can already get arrested, right? They already have that there. Japan, I'm not sure about. Indonesia, hardcore authoritarian, leadership there. Germany, very socialist leaning, where if you say the wrong thing in Germany, you can be arrested. If you say the wrong thing online, if you disagree with the wrong idea online in Germany, if you espouse certain ideologies or certain homeschooling, for instance, against the government's education system in Germany, you can be arrested or have your kids taken from you. What are some of the other countries we got in there? I lost them. Where did you go? Oh, sorry, right there. And in Canada, we already know, like with C1A, whatever it is, the anti-hate speech law in Canada, you can have legal action taken already against you there, right? So why do we need more laws again? Why do we need to get farther in bed? Why did the social media companies need to get farther in bed? It blows me away. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would the social media companies and these governments need to get farther in bed together? Huh? Because they want more censorship and they want more control and they want to present this in a humanitarian way that we need to combat extremism and violence. But it's also right along with hate speech, which is a religious idea. That is the idea of identity politics. Identitarian, social justice warriors, the intersectionalities followers, in the intersectionalityists. I just made that word up. But all of the political correct, the cultural Marxism, right? Hate speech is against their religion. It's a religion. So, I mean, and hate speech is one of the, thou shalt not do this, even though speech is just speech. Yeah, you have people that are hateful in their speech at times, and you have, but it's still just speech up until the point you call for action to be taken against somebody. Then it is no longer speech, but a threat. And we, again, already have laws for that. And every country in the world already has laws for that. When you call for action against somebody, you have crossed the line and you can be arrested. But short of that, say what you want to. Let's debate it. Let's put it out there in the ether, not hide it under a blanket. Why don't we debate the ideas? And let's see which ones stand and which ones don't. Let's talk about these ideologies of postmodernism and of cultural Marxism and of identity politics and of intersectionality. Let's talk about it with some rational. Let's do a little, logos and pathos. Did I say that right? I may not have. I'm a little bit worked up right now. Let's look at it logically, not just emotionally. Let's talk about them. Let's see which ones stand and which ones fall. This isn't about freedom. Have signed under the pledge, as have tech companies such as, all those companies or countries I just listed, as have tech companies such as Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Twitter. Like I said, what can go wrong? Facebook promised to ban users who violate its most serious policies, from live streaming and buying ads, while all 5 platforms pledged to develop tools, including AI and machine learning, to remove extremist content. Again, can we define what extremist content is? What is extremist content? What is it? This isn't about freedom of expression, Arden insisted last month in a response to free speech concerns from the New Zealanders. This is about preventing violent extremism and terrorism online. No, it's about censoring free speech. That's exactly what it's about. We already have the laws and the things in place to prevent violent extremism and terrorism online. Some is going to slip through, and we're going to nip it in the bud when it does. Going beyond, above and beyond is not anything other than another step into totalitarian fascism of thought control. That's all it is. But the involvement of Macron has troubled some. Weird. Wonder why. One of his first acts as president was to make permanent an emergency law allowing, this is good, allowing individuals merely suspected of terrorist links to be placed under a form of house arrest for up to a year earlier this year. So you could just be suspected suspected of a crime, suspected of terrorism, and be put in jail for up to a year. What could go wrong? I trust you, Macron. We trust you. You're a good-hearted person that isn't going to take advantage of power or imprison people that would disagree with you. No. Earlier this year, he pushed for social media platforms to ban users guilty of hate speech. There it is. Ban them if they step outside the doctrine of our cultural Marxist ideology, postmodernist ideology. So if they step outside of that and they use a mean word, then ban them. Don't even let them talk. Don't let those offensive, triggering, hurtful words be heard by anybody. From their platforms for life. Just a week after espousing a novel definition of hate speech that included anti-Zionism in its meaning. The Christchurch call does not define what constitutes extremism. Let me read that again. The Christchurch call does not define what constitutes extremism, and its enforcement is entirely dependent on individual governments. So we're going to say if you are an extremist, you're banned, but we're not going to define what extremism means, what an extremist is. We're not going to define that because that's going to be a fluid definition. And, pretty soon, anybody who has anything doesn't absolutely bow at the altar and at the base of the intersectionality pyramid and ladder, and doesn't bow down to cultural Marxism and postmodernism thought and this identity politics and identitarian social justice, political correctness ideology, if you don't bow down and accept that, you're an extremist. You're a hateful extremist. Oh, you're so far off. That would never happen. Really, it's happening right now. And now they're just, through this article, wanting to give more power to that. The proposal was named after the New Zealand city in which an Australian idiot psycho murdered 51 Muslim worshippers at two mosques back in March while live streaming the attack on Facebook. In the aftermath of the attack, the government struggled to keep footage from resurfacing on the web, imposing unprecedented restrictions on sharing and hosting the video, including fines and even jail time. Yeah. Interesting in so many ways. And then you have, I know this video's gone way longer. I guess we're already connected. Here's another one of the articles where it says France wants more government regulation. This was from back on the 10th of Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg calls it a model approach. We need more regulation. And, basically in this article, go read it, but Mark says we also need more regulation. Once he got his shit called out by the co-founder of Facebook, who said Mark Zuckerberg and his stupid Facebook is now a monopolistic, out-of-control monster and should have some regulations put on it, he's pushing back and saying, well, you shouldn't regulate the company. You should regulate the internet. We should regulate the internet. And this piece of crap that sold all of our information and gave all of our private information away and lied to us and uses and built a platform to get us addicted and to get us to teach us how to fight with one another and to teach us to separate us, all the while gathering every aspect of our life into one spot. Facebook, right? What we eat, where we go, who our friends are, what we like, what we don't like, what our humor's like, everything. They have everything about you that literally are used to log you in to all the different other things, places you go throughout the World Wide Web, the interwebs. This guy who gave all that information away and is a lying, two-faced little 5'3" little munchkin drone thinks that we should have more regulation on the internet and the government should get in bed together and regulate the censorship of the social media platforms. It is an insidious thing because Facebook, I used to enjoy it, but it has turned into such a shit show. I hate it. I can't stand it. Minds.com. But, it really, the one good thing about it back in the day was it brought us all together to be able to share ideas. In some ways, that was terrible. In some ways, that was good. The public square which Twitter and Facebook and some of these other, YouTube, not quite so much on YouTube, but still, yeah. I mean, it's an expression, being a great platform to express opinions and ideas. But Facebook and Twitter really turned into the public square, and the public square is what the First Amendment was there to protect: freedom of ideas and exchange of ideas, a free flow of ideas in the public square. Facebook is now the public square. So I can get on board with some regulations. The only regulations I can get on board, though, or government interaction into these companies, is to get involved to say, guess what? If you want to keep your status as a platform, then you are going to be a platform. You're not going to pick winners and losers. You're not going to pick what can and can't be said. There's going to be a place. You are now the public square. So we are going to apply the First Amendment to you. And if you're going to stay as a platform, then you need to now let everyone's speech sort of calling for action against others to be permitted. And if you aren't going to do that, then you need to become a publisher. You need to switch over and register as a publisher, which then opens up a whole new can of worms, which they don't want to do. They want their cake and eat it too. Basically, that's what this whole little article says. That smug little freaking, oh God, I can't stand him. Ooh. Anyway, I don't know if anybody's going to make it to the end of this. If you make it to the end of this, put giraffe in the comment. Write giraffe in the comment. I don't know why I just said that, but write giraffe in the comment if you've made it this far. And you will get a special something from me. Anyways, please don't forget to subscribe and go to minds.com and telegram.com, SJG Perspective on both of those, and BitChute if you wanted to. Those three, but Minds for sure and Telegram for sure. Sign up for them. Follow me, SJG Perspective. Without fear or animus, until next time, I appreciate everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever it is you're reading this, listening to this. Talk to you later. Bye.